Welcome to Conspiracy Theories and Cover-Ups. I'm your host, Ben Carter, and in today's episode, we're diving into one of the most enduring and controversial questions of modern times. Has the US government been secretly retrieving crashed UFOs and hiding alien technology from the public? With whispers of reverse-engineered craft, whistleblower confessions, and classified black projects, the truth may be closer than we think, or further buried than we ever imagined. In July of 1947, the town of Roswell, New Mexico, became the unexpected epicenter of what many believe is the largest cover-up in American history. A strange object reportedly crashed in the desert, initially described by the US Army as a flying disc, before being swiftly recategorized as a weather balloon. The official story shifted almost overnight, igniting decades of speculation and distrust. But Roswell was just the spark that lit a far larger fire. In the decades that followed, similar reports of crashed unidentified craft began to circulate, not only in fringe circles, but among military personnel, intelligence insiders, and eventually lawmakers. To understand the roots of the crash retrieval conspiracy, we must go back to the dawn of the Cold War. In the late 1940s and early 1950s, the United States was emerging from World War II as a superpower, locked in a geopolitical chess match with the Soviet Union. The nuclear age had arrived, and with it, an urgent hunger for technological superiority. The American government poured billions into secret weapons programs, advanced aviation, and intelligence operations. This was the era that gave birth to clandestine institutions like the CIA and covert military testing sites like Area 51, places deliberately built in the shadows. Simultaneously, a cultural fascination with flying saucers began to take hold. Newspapers buzzed with sightings, Hollywood turned out alien invasion thrillers. The public's imagination was ablaze with the idea that someone might be watching us from above. But amid the paranoia and excitement, a darker narrative began to take root. What if these weren't just lights in the sky? What if some had crashed? And what if the government had them? According to believers, crash retrieval operations became a standard component of military readiness. Special units were allegedly tasked with racing to downed objects before civilians could get close. These missions, if they occurred, were highly compartmentalized, often buried under layers of classified documentation. Witnesses claimed to have seen wreckage. Others spoke of strange metallic alloys, hieroglyphic-like markings, or biological specimens not of this earth. This environment, defined by secrecy, rapid technological advancement, and Cold War paranoia, created fertile ground for conspiracy theories to flourish. The government's silence or denials only fueled the fire. As America moved into the space age, whispers of secret hangars full of alien wreckage followed. Whether born of actual encounters or misinterpreted events, the idea that we may have retrieved craft not made by human hands became cemented in the collective consciousness. The UFO crash retrieval theory didn't grow in isolation. It was a byproduct of a culture that had learned to distrust authority in the wake of scandals, classified projects, and decades of withheld information. When the government finally admitted in 2017 and 2020 that it had been studying unidentified aerial phenomena under secret programs like AA-TIP, it gave new life to older claims. The backdrop of war, secrecy, and ambition had set the stage. Now the question was no longer if something had crashed, but what we had done with it afterward. One of the most influential figures tied to the UFO crash retrieval narrative is Bob Lazar. In 1989, Lazar emerged from anonymity to appear in an interview with investigative reporter George Knapp. Speaking with a blurred face and using a pseudonym, Lazar claimed he had worked as a physicist at a facility called S4, located near Area 51. According to Lazar, he was part of a team tasked with reverse engineering recovered extraterrestrial spacecraft, one of 9, he said, housed in secret hangars partially embedded in the Nevada desert. His story was outlandish, but his technical details, from gravity propulsion systems to antimatter reactors, captivated believers and skeptics alike. Lazar's credibility has long been debated. Critics argue his academic and employment records are unverifiable, while supporters insist that such evidence was intentionally erased. Still, Lazar's claims marked a turning point in how the public viewed the UFO phenomenon, not merely as sightings in the sky, but as physical craft recovered and studied behind locked doors. He was the first to publicly paint a picture of a structured covert government program specifically designed to analyze alien technology. Another significant figure is Dr. Eric Davis, a physicist known for his work in advanced theoretical propulsion. In 2020, a classified briefing document authored by Davis reportedly reached members of Congress. The contents, leaked to the media, claimed that retrievals of off-world vehicles not made on this Earth had taken place. Though the authenticity of the document was never formally verified by the Pentagon, it reignited public interest and added scientific gravitas to the conversation. Former Senator Harry Reid also played a major role. As Senate Majority Leader, Reid secured funding for the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, AA-type, a secret initiative within the Department of Defense to study aerial threats, including UFOs. Reid later stated in interviews that he believed materials of unknown origin had been recovered and were being studied privately under contract. He hinted that private aerospace firms, most notably Bigelow Aerospace, were involved in storing or analyzing this material under government direction. Even more recently, in 2023, a former intelligence officer named David Grush came forward with explosive allegations. In sworn testimony before Congress and multiple press interviews, Grush claimed he had knowledge of a long-standing crash retrieval program involving non-human craft. Though he said he had not personally seen the vehicles, he stated that he had spoken to dozens of individuals with first-hand knowledge. According to Grush, these programs were deeply compartmentalized, hidden even from many within the intelligence community. What links these figures is a pattern. Insiders with government or defense credentials alleging the existence of a black-budget initiative designed to recover and exploit alien technology. Each testimony adds a layer of complexity and credibility, drawing attention not only from the public but also from lawmakers. Whether they're discredited whistleblowers or truth-tellers risking their careers, their stories share a recurring theme that somewhere in the classified corners of the military-industrial complex, knowledge is being kept from us. The most compelling claims fueling the crash retrieval conspiracy revolve around tangible artifacts, pieces of alleged spacecraft, exotic materials, and testimonies describing off-world technology far beyond human capabilities. Central to these claims is the assertion that the US government, through various military and intelligence channels, has not only recovered alien craft, but has actively studied and attempted to replicate their systems in secret facilities. One of the most cited pieces of supposed evidence comes from a 2004 incident involving the USS Nimitz carrier strike group. Navy pilots encountered a tic-tac-shaped craft exhibiting extraordinary flight characteristics: no visible propulsion, instantaneous acceleration, and gravity-defying maneuvers. While the event itself does not involve a crash, proponents argue that the military's serious treatment of the event, coupled with the lack of any official explanation, suggests broader knowledge of similar craft, some of which may have been retrieved. Then there are the so-called metamaterials. In 2017, former Pentagon official Luis Elizondo, who ran the AAT program, revealed that the government had in its possession fragments of unknown origin, materials allegedly retrieved from crash sites. These fragments were said to display properties not found in any known aerospace manufacturing, such as unusual isotope ratios, layered construction at a nano level, and energy manipulation capabilities. Some reports indicated these materials were studied under contract by private firms like Bigelow Aerospace and later by others, such as to the Stars Academy, an organization co-founded by Tom DeLonge of Blink-182 fame. Another piece of evidence, frequently discussed, is a leaked memo from the late astrophysicist Dr. Eric Davis. According to the memo, Davis briefed the Defense Department on retrieved off-world vehicles and suggested that some elements of these programs were so deeply buried within Special Access Program SAPs that even high-ranking officials were unaware of their existence. Although the Pentagon has not confirmed the memo's authenticity, its circulation among defense circles lends it weight in conspiracy communities. Testimonies from military personnel are also a key element in the evidence chain. Several former servicemen have come forward, sometimes anonymously, to describe recovery missions. They've spoken of aircraft being dispatched to remote sites under tight secrecy, the use of hazmat gear, and the transportation of strange debris to bases like Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio, long rumoured to house alien wreckage in its infamous Hangar 18. Additionally, declassified government documents have revealed decades of interest in UFO phenomena. Projects like Blue Book, Sign, and Grudge were all initiated to investigate unexplained aerial sightings, but conspiracy theorists point to large redactions and vague conclusions as evidence that more was being concealed than revealed. Many believe that these programs functioned as public-facing diversions from more secretive operations focused on actual crash recoveries and reverse engineering. Together, these claims form the foundation of the modern crash retrieval narrative. While none of the evidence offers a smoking gun, the accumulation of reports, testimonies, leaked documents, and unexplained material creates a puzzle, one that many argue can only be explained by the existence of a long-running, tightly controlled effort to hide the truth about alien technology. Scrutinizing the so-called evidence of UFO crash retrievals reveals a murky landscape where fact, fiction, and speculation often blur. Take, for instance, the exotic metamaterials allegedly recovered from crash sites. In 2019, the New York Times reported that the Pentagon had possession of materials from off-world vehicles not made on this Earth. While that phrase set off a firestorm in alternative news circles, follow-up clarification was limited. Researchers tied to these materials, such as Hal Puthoff and Dr. Gary Nolan, suggested that while the alloys were unusual, they were not conclusively extraterrestrial. Some were found to be industrial byproducts or layered metals with known Earth-based applications. The Tic Tac incident, while well documented and officially acknowledged, offers another layer of complexity. Despite the credibility of Navy pilots and infrared footage showing the object's bizarre flight, no physical evidence was recovered. The Defense Department acknowledged the encounter but offered no conclusions. Skeptics argue the object could have been a classified drone or experimental technology. Still, no plausible explanation has satisfied all observers, leaving a vacuum that speculation eagerly fills. As for Bob Lazar, perhaps the most well-known whistleblower in UFO lore, his technical claims remain hotly debated. His descriptions of Element 115 as a fuel source for alien propulsion were initially mocked. Yet years later, scientists synthesized a highly unstable version of Element 115, moscovium, adding a strange layer of credibility. However, no version of the element has demonstrated the exotic properties Lazar described. Critics point to the absence of academic records or verifiable employment history as red flags, while supporters argue that erasing such records would be standard protocol in a top-secret environment. The leaked Eric Davis memo presents yet another challenge. No official body has authenticated it, and those supposedly briefed have neither confirmed nor denied the briefing occurred. The memo's language is compelling, but without verification, it remains in the realm of hearsay. Similarly, claims by David Grush, while delivered under oath and protected by whistleblower status, are based on second-hand accounts. He admitted he did not see the retrieved craft himself, but was relaying information from colleagues. This weakens the claims from an evidentiary standpoint, even if it adds intrigue. Then there's the issue of secrecy itself. Programs hidden within Special Access Programs, SAPs, are notoriously difficult to verify. Their very nature limits who can know what, making independent confirmation nearly impossible. Some argue that the perfect cover for such programs lies in their implausibility. After all, what better way to conceal alien technology than to wrap it in a theory most people dismiss as fantasy? Ultimately, the evidence supporting UFO crash retrieval claims is compelling in its breadth, but often falls short on depth. It's a case of thousands of puzzle pieces with no clear picture to assemble. The recurring themes, strange materials, government secrecy, insider testimony, point towards something unusual, but the precise nature of that something remains elusive. In the absence of a smoking gun, believers and skeptics alike must navigate a terrain shaped as much by what we don't know as by what we do. While many aspects of the UFO crash retrieval narrative are embraced by believers, the theory is far from universally accepted. In fact, some of the most prominent voices in aerospace, science, and national security view these claims with deep skepticism, arguing that the so-called evidence is often circumstantial, misinterpreted, or even deliberately misleading. To them, the allure of extraterrestrial explanations may obscure more mundane, yet highly classified, military realities. One major criticism centers on the lack of hard, verifiable physical evidence. Despite decades of claims, no unambiguous artifact, no complete spacecraft, no alien biological remains, no indisputable technology has ever been presented to the public or authenticated by independent scientific bodies. Critics argue that for a conspiracy of this scale to exist without a single leak of indisputable proof strains credibility. In the age of smartphones and mass surveillance, the total absence of clear documentation is, to skeptics, damning. Another skeptical argument is rooted in psychology and human pattern recognition. UFO sightings and crash retrieval claims often emerge in clusters and follow cultural trends. Skeptics suggest that popular media may plant images and expectations that influence how witnesses interpret ambiguous events. As films and TV shows romanticize secret government alien programs, real-world observers may unconsciously fit their experiences into these familiar narratives. What begins as a misidentified aircraft or natural phenomenon can quickly spiral into a belief in extraterrestrial technology, especially when reinforced by community forums and online echo chambers. Additionally, aerospace experts often point to the United States' history of advanced, classified aircraft as a more plausible explanation. Projects like the U-2 SR-71 Blackbird and the B-2 Spirit stealth bomber were all shrouded in secrecy for years before being revealed. These aircraft, particularly in early test flights, could have easily been mistaken for otherworldly craft by untrained observers. Some believe that current claims of UFO crash retrievals are similarly covering up experimental military programs, not alien visitation. The credibility of key whistleblowers is also questioned. Bob Lazar's story, for instance, is undermined in the eyes of skeptics by the inability to verify his employment or educational background. David Grush's statements, while delivered under oath, are seen as hearsay, since he did not personally witness the retrieved craft. Critics emphasize that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, and second-hand testimony does not meet that standard. Even within the scientific community, figures like Neil deGrasse Tyson and astrophysicist Seth Shostak have been vocal in their skepticism. They argue that if advanced civilizations are visiting Earth, there should be clearer signs, communication signals, definitive sensor data, or technological anomalies detectable on a global scale. The lack of such signs, in their view, suggests that the crash retrieval theory may be more fiction than fact. Still, even among skeptics, there is growing acknowledgement that some aerial phenomena remain unexplained. But the leap from unexplained to extraterrestrial is, for them, a leap too far, especially without unassailable proof. While believers see a government hiding the truth, skeptics often see a society eager to believe, shaped by fear, imagination, and the persistent mystery of the skies. The idea that the US government may be hiding alien technology isn't just a fringe belief, it's become a cultural force, shaping how people view authority, science, and even their place in the universe. If the crash retrieval theory is true, it would suggest not just a massive cover-up, but a redefinition of humanity's technological evolution, spiritual understanding, and political power structures. In this light, the conspiracy transcends claims of secrecy and enters the realm of existential transformation. One of the broader implications lies in the potential technological leap such alien craft would represent. If advanced vehicles with propulsion systems far beyond our own have indeed been recovered and studied, the question becomes, why hasn't this technology reshaped our world? Advocates of the theory argue that it has, quietly. They suggest that developments in stealth aircraft, fiber optics, or even microprocessors may have roots in reverse-engineered alien systems. Though no proof connects these advancements directly to UFO recoveries, the timing of such technological booms often aligns suspiciously with major alleged retrieval events. The mere suggestion creates an aura of plausible deniability and wonder. Then there's the political dimension. A successful cover-up of this scale would require coordination across multiple agencies, administrations, and decades. This raises profound questions about transparency, democracy, and the limits of civilian oversight. If such programs exist and are hidden within unacknowledged special access programs, it suggests that a form of shadow governance may operate parallel to elected officials. That kind of revelation doesn't just question the integrity of government, it redefines the power dynamics between citizen and state. The crash retrieval narrative also taps into deep psychological and philosophical undercurrents. In a world increasingly shaped by uncertainty, climate change, war, artificial intelligence, the idea that there is a hidden truth, a concealed technology, or even a higher intelligence watching us from the shadows provides both comfort and fear. It offers the possibility that humanity is not alone, not at the top of the ladder, and that our trajectory could change at any moment if this knowledge were revealed. Moreover, this theory speaks to a generational divide in trust. Polls show that younger people, raised in a post-9/11 world of surveillance, revelations, and media fragmentation, are more likely to believe in government secrecy. In their view, the idea of a long-standing cover-up is not only plausible, it's expected. This cultural shift means that even in the absence of proof, belief in crash retrievals carries weight, simply because it aligns with how many view power and secrecy in the modern age. Finally, if the theory is true, it forces a collective reckoning with the biggest question of all. What does it mean for humanity to possess, yet conceal, evidence of intelligent life beyond Earth? Whether for reasons of power, control, or fear of societal upheaval, the implications of such secrecy would ripple through every facet of our world, from religion to science, from geopolitics to identity. The theory's power lies not just in what it claims is hidden, but in what revealing it might change forever. Over the years, the UFO crash retrieval conspiracy has seeped into the bloodstream of popular culture, influencing how people perceive authority, secrecy, and even reality itself. While mainstream news outlets once dismissed such theories as tabloid fodder, a marked shift has occurred. Today, these ideas are no longer confined to late-night radio shows or conspiracy forums. They are part of the broader media landscape, shaping documentaries, films, political discourse, and social media trends. The media's portrayal of the theory has played a crucial role in its endurance. Television shows like The X-Files and films like Independence Day and Close Encounters of the Third Kind have dramatized the concept of government cover-ups and secret alien technology, embedding them in the cultural psyche. These narratives blur the lines between fiction and reality, priming audiences to view official denials with suspicion. Even fictionalized portrayals often echo real-life claims: shadowy military bases, whistleblowers risking it all, and mysterious government agents tasked with keeping secrets buried. The shift from fringe to mainstream became especially pronounced after the Pentagon's 2017 admission that it had operated a UFO study program, the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, AATIP. Major publications like the New York Times and Politico covered the story with journalistic seriousness, giving weight to the notion that unidentified aerial phenomena were being tracked and studied. For many, this was not just confirmation that the government was interested in UFOs, it was proof that previous denials were part of a much larger concealment. Social media has further amplified the theory, giving rise to entire communities devoted to dissecting every government release, every whistleblower statement, every pixel of blurry footage. Platforms like YouTube and Reddit serve as accelerants for the theory, allowing users to collaborate, speculate, and share content that reinforces their beliefs. Algorithms tend to favor emotionally charged, sensational material, further ensuring that crash retrieval content reaches wide and eager audiences. The involvement of high-profile figures has also boosted the theory's visibility. Tom DeLonge, the former Blink-182 frontman, became a surprisingly influential figure in the disclosure movement. Through his organization, To the Stars Academy, DeLonge helped bring forward former Pentagon officials and pilots who corroborated elements of the broader UFO mystery. When celebrities and respected figures champion a theory once confined to conspiracy circles, it reshapes the public narrative. What was once mocked is now discussed on primetime news panels and Senate hearings. Government responses have also changed. Where once the official position was complete denial, recent years have seen a subtle acknowledgement without full disclosure. This ambiguity fuels public interest and distrust simultaneously. When pressed, officials admit they don't know what some of these objects are, but refuse to rule out more extraordinary explanations. That ambiguity functions as a double-edged sword, keeping the mystery alive and inviting speculation to fill the vacuum left by silence. In modern society, where information flows rapidly and distrust of institutions is high, the UFO crash retrieval conspiracy thrives. It is not merely a theory, it is a lens through which people interpret power, secrecy, and the unknown. The media's evolving role, from gatekeeper to amplifier, has transformed the conspiracy into a cultural force, one that no longer needs proof to feel real. It's been embedded in the story we tell ourselves about the world, and perhaps about what waits beyond it. Beyond the mainline narratives of military retrieval teams and black-budget research programs lies a stranger, more speculative layer of the crash retrieval conspiracy, one filled with fringe theories, exotic science, and metaphysical dimensions. While these ideas may sit on the outer edges of credibility, they are essential to understanding how deep and complex the mythology has become. For some, these theories offer more than just explanations. They propose entire new worldviews. One such theory is that not all retrieved craft are mechanical in the traditional sense. Some fringe researchers claim that the objects recovered are biological or semi-sentient in nature, living machines grown or cultivated by an advanced intelligence. According to this view, the lines between technology and life blur at sufficiently high levels of advancement. Alleged insiders have described craft that respond to thought, reshape their form, or appear to violate known laws of physics not through mechanical force, but through consciousness interaction. There's also the belief, held by a minority of theorists, that some of the recovered objects are not extraterrestrial at all, but ultra-terrestrial, meaning they originate from a hidden layer of reality, another dimension, or even the future. This theory posits that some crash retrievals involve technology from parallel timelines or advanced human civilizations that have developed along a different path. In this telling, the objects are not alien, but local, just not from this version of reality. Another layer of speculation revolves around psychic or telepathic phenomena connected to these recovered craft. Whistleblower accounts, largely unverifiable, have described objects that react to human emotions or mental states, suggesting a form of non-verbal interface. Some theorists connect these stories to ancient religious texts and mythologies, arguing that gods, angels, and divine messengers may have been misunderstood encounters with such entities or devices. This blends the crash retrieval narrative with ancient astronaut theory and spiritual metaphysics. Fringe thinkers also question the accidents themselves. Were these craft truly malfunctioning, or were they intentionally left behind, planted even, as part of a long-term psychological operation or slow disclosure strategy? This idea supposes that advanced intelligences may be gradually seeding information to prepare humanity for a paradigm shift. The retrievals in this framework are not cover-ups but controlled revelations, strategically hidden and leaked over time to shape consciousness. Even wilder theories suggest that secret crash retrieval programs have succeeded in reverse engineering some of the craft, allowing for time travel, interdimensional access, or anti-gravity propulsion. These breakthroughs, if real, would represent a quantum leap not only in technology, but in human understanding of reality. Some believe this is the true reason for the cover-up, not fear of public panic, but the political and economic disruption such knowledge would unleash. Of course, none of these fringe perspectives are substantiated by hard evidence. Yet their existence speaks to the cultural depth of the conspiracy. The crash retrieval theory has evolved far beyond government secrecy. It's now a canvas for reimagining the cosmos, our origins, and our destiny. Whether seen as metaphor or literal truth, these speculative layers give the theory a mythic quality. It becomes more than a question of what crashed. It becomes a question of who we are and what we are being kept from becoming. After exploring the origins, evidence, key figures, cultural impact, and even the most speculative dimensions of the UFO crash retrieval conspiracy, we're left with a narrative that is as elusive as it is compelling. Across decades of rumours, declassified documents, sworn testimonies, and shifting government postures, the theory endures. Partly because it taps into something far deeper than curiosity. It speaks to our collective suspicion that something monumental may be hidden just beyond the reach of official acknowledgement. The idea that the US government has retrieved alien craft, whether extraterrestrial, ultra-terrestrial, or something else entirely, remains unproven. Yet the persistence of this belief says something profound about the modern world. In an age of surveillance, disinformation, and rapid technological progress, many people find it easier to believe that the most extraordinary things are not only possible but actively being concealed. The more authorities deny, the more some believe. The conspiracy feeds off ambiguity, surviving not in the absence of evidence, but in the shadows cast by partial truths. What's perhaps most fascinating is how the theory has evolved. No longer relegated to the margins of belief, crash retrieval claims now appear in congressional hearings, mainstream media reports, and serious scientific discussions. And yet the deeper the public looks, the more contradictory and fragmented the picture becomes. Testimonies conflict. Materials remain unverified. Whistleblowers offer compelling accounts, but lack definitive proof. It creates a paradox, a story too detailed to dismiss outright, yet too opaque to confirm. Whether the result of a genuine cover-up, misidentified black projects, or an elaborate myth shaped by modern anxieties, the crash retrieval conspiracy has become part of the cultural fabric. It has shaped not only what people believe about UFOs, but how they understand power, secrecy, and truth itself. It reflects a deep yearning for disclosure, for connection, for a reality larger than the one we've been shown. As this episode comes to a close, one thing is clear. Belief in UFO crash retrievals is not merely about spacecraft. It's about trust. It's about the limits of human knowledge and the boundaries of official narratives. It's about what we're allowed to know and who decides that for us. Until a moment of undeniable proof arrives, if ever does, the debate will rage on, fueled by every new leak, every unexplained encounter, every whisper from the edge of the classified world. Thanks for listening. This has been another episode of Conspiracy Theories and Cover-Ups. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you'd like to support the show, subscribe to Conspiracy Theories and Cover-Ups on Spotify. Subscribe now.